At first glance, the 1967 Lincoln penny looks like just another ordinary coin. Most people wouldn't give it a second thought. It's brown, small, lightweight, and often found mixed in jars, drawers, or old collections. But what many people don't realize is that the year 1967 sits at one of the most important turning points in U.S. coin history. This penny was born during chaos, change, and fear inside the United States Mint, and that alone makes it far more interesting than its face value suggests. The year 1967 was a time when Americans were pulling coins out of circulation at a shocking rate. Silver prices were rising, collectors were hoarding, and everyday people believed coins might soon disappear forever. Because of this, the U.S. Mint made a drastic decision. They completely removed mint marks from coins between 1965 and 1967. That means every 1967 Lincoln penny has no mint mark, even though it was struck at different facilities. This wasn't a mistake. It was intentional, designed to stop people from collecting coins based on where they were made. That decision alone makes the 1967 penny special. It represents a rare moment when the mint tried to hide information in plain sight. No mint mark, no distinction, just millions of pennies rushed into circulation to keep the economy moving. Over 3 billion 1967 Lincoln pennies were produced, making it one of the highest mintage years ever. But here, where things get interesting. High mintage does not mean low value in every case. The 1967 Lincoln penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. That copper content alone gives it an intrinsic value higher than 1 cent. But collectors don't look at melt value only. They look for condition, surface quality, strike sharpness, and most importantly, errors. And the 1967 penny is known for producing a surprising number of mint errors. One of the most desirable errors on this penny is the doubled die. This happens when the die strikes the coin more than once in slightly different positions. On some 1967 pennies, you can see doubling on the word Liberty, the date, or even Lincoln's profile. These are not common, and when authenticated, they can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on clarity and condition. Another highly searched variety is the off-center strike. Some 1967 pennies were struck off-center by a noticeable margin, making part of the design missing. The more dramatic the offset, the higher the collector interest. Coins with 10 to 50% off-center strikes can command serious premiums. Then there are clipped planchet errors, where part of the coin is missing due to a mistake in the metal cutting process. These errors are especially fascinating because they are easy to spot and instantly prove the coin is not ordinary. A genuine clipped 1967 penny can be worth many times its face value. Condition is where the real money starts to appear. Most 1967 pennies are worn, dull, and brown. But coins that survived without circulation damage are extremely difficult to find today. A 1967 penny graded in high mint state, especially with full red color, can be surprisingly valuable. Professional grading services often assign premiums to coins that show original luster, sharp details, and no spotting. In top grades, some 1967 pennies have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars at auction. These are not everyday coins, they are survivors. Coins that somehow avoided pockets, cash registers, and decades of handling. Collectors also pay attention to strike quality. Some 1967 pennies were weakly struck, while others show incredible detail in Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat. Strong strike examples stand out immediately under magnification and are far more desirable. What makes the 1967 Lincoln penny even more interesting is its historical placement. It sits between the removal of silver from U.S. coinage and the modernization of mint technology. It represents the end of an era where copper coins were still common and before cost-cutting changes slowly began altering American money forever. Today, many people still dismiss this penny because it's common, but history shows that common coins with rare varieties are often overlooked until it's too late. Decades ago, people ignored certain wheat pennies too. Now some of them are worth fortunes. If you have a 1967 Lincoln penny, the first thing you should do is look closely. Use a magnifying glass. Check the date, lettering, and edges. Look for doubling, unusual shapes, missing metal, or strange textures. Weigh the coin if possible. Even small differences can signal something rare. Never clean the coin. Cleaning destroys collector value instantly. Even a rare error can lose most of its worth if it's been polished or scrubbed. The 1967 Lincoln penny may not scream value at first glance, but it quietly carries history, metal value, and the potential for hidden rarity. It's a reminder that some of the most interesting coins aren't the ones everyone talks about. They're the ones hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone patient enough to really look. And that's why the 1967 Lincoln penny continues to be searched, studied, and quietly collected today. The 1963 D Lincoln penny may look ordinary at first, but this small copper coin carries a powerful story from the final years of an important era in American history. It was minted at a time when the United States was changing rapidly, and just 1 year before one of the most iconic transformations in U.S. coinage. Many people spend or ignore this penny every day without realizing what it truly represents or what it could be worth. The letter D on this penny tells us it was minted in Denver, one of the busiest and most productive mints in the country. In 1963, the Denver Mint struck more than 1.7 billion Lincoln pennies. That is an enormous number, and because of that, most 1963 D pennies are still common today. But common does not mean worthless, and this is where the story becomes interesting. This penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc and tin, which already gives it a strong base value beyond 1 cent. As copper prices rise over time, the metal content alone makes this coin more valuable than its face value. But collectors don't stop at metal. They look deeper, and that's where the real value potential begins. The year 1963 is especially important because it was the final full year before the Lincoln penny design changed dramatically. In 1959, the wheat ears on the back were replaced with the Lincoln Memorial, and by 1964, the U.S. Mint would be overwhelmed by coin shortages and massive public hoarding. That makes the 1963 D penny one of the last calm issues before the storm. Most circulated 1963 D pennies today are worth only a few cents. If the coin is worn, scratched, or dark brown, its value usually ranges from 2 to 5 cents. But if the penny has strong detail, minimal wear, and original copper color, its value rises quickly. Uncirculated 1963 D pennies with full red color are far more desirable. These coins never entered circulation and still show bright luster. In high mint state grades, especially MS-65 and above, a 1963 D penny can sell for tens or even hundreds of dollars. In rare cases, exceptionally preserved examples have reached even higher prices at auction. Where collectors really get excited is with errors and varieties. The 1963 D Lincoln penny is known for several interesting mint errors. One of the most valuable is the doubled die error. This happens when the coin design is struck more than once at slightly different angles. Doubling can sometimes be seen in the date, the word liberty, or the phrase in God we trust. A genuine doubled die 1963 D penny can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on strength and condition. Another collectible error is the repunched mint mark. In 1963, mint marks were punched into the die by hand. This sometimes resulted in the D being struck more than once. Under magnification, you may see a shadow or extra outline around the mint mark. These varieties are popular with collectors and can bring strong premiums. Off-center strikes are another exciting find. Some 1963 D pennies were struck when the planchet was not properly aligned. These coins may show part of the design missing. The more off-center the strike, the higher the value, especially if the date is still visible. Clipped planchet errors also appear in this year. These coins are missing a curved section of metal caused by a cutting error at the mint. These errors are easy to spot and instantly recognizable, making them very desirable. Condition is everything. Two 1963 D pennies can look similar at first glance, yet one may be worth 1 cent while the other could be worth hundreds. Sharp details in Lincoln's hair, clean fields, strong lettering, and original color all increase value dramatically. One important rule every collector follows is never clean the coin. Cleaning removes original surfaces and destroys value. Even a rare error coin can lose most of its worth if it has been polished or scrubbed. The 1963 D Lincoln penny may not be famous like the 1909 SVDB or the 1955 doubled die, but it holds its own quiet importance. It represents the final years of high copper U.S. pennies, the peak of mass production before shortages, and a time when American coinage was still made to last. This is why collectors continue to search through rolls, jars, and old collections for 1963 D pennies. Most will be common, but every once in a while one stands out, and that single coin can turn a forgotten penny into a valuable piece of history. Sometimes the most interesting treasures aren't rare because they're old. They're rare because so few people take the time to really look.